Welcome to the last part of growth and development. So far, we've looked at the introduction, growth in plants, germination, and we're going to conclude with growth in animals. So this part, growth in animals, is not concerned with all animals. We're going to take a look at two representatives of animals, and they're not even the expected representatives. Normally, we take a look at, we usually study humans as representative of animals, but we're going to take a look at um, um, mosquitoes and houseflies. So we're going to remember when we started this topic, we talked of a life cycle. So we're going to look at these two types of animals, mosquitoes and houseflies, by using a life cycle. So we're going to be studying what is called metamorphosis, which is just the change in the body's shape of an organism as it grows. As we are growing, the shape of an organism changes, or our shape keep on changing. Okay. For humans, when they're babies, the legs are short, but when they're adults, the legs are longer. Yeah, so there are two types of metamorphosis. There's complete metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis. So incomplete metamorphosis, these are just terminologies, by the way. In complete metamorphosis, an organism is going to completely change from the way it was looking to the way it's looking, such that you can't even believe that this organism was once the way it was when it was in the maybe embryonic stage. Okay, so then in incomplete metamorphosis, this is where it changes partially. So mosquitoes undergo complete metamorphosis, which by definition is a type of a life cycle, is a type of a life cycle where the different stages of the cycle have different bodies forms from each other and different behaviors and nutritional requirements. So the fact that the body has completely changed, it also means that even the food they are going to be needing, the nutrition are going to be different. Even the way it behaves. Maybe when it was a baby, it couldn't move, but now at the later stage, at the maturity stage, it will be moving. Okay, so the nutritional requirements, the behavior is different in complete metamorphosis. So each body form is called a morphology. The stages of a mosquito life cycle are: the first stage is an egg, the second is a larva, the third is a pupa, and the fourth is an adult, which is usually called an imago. So the memory aid, if you want to master these stages, is by this memory aid helper, where E is egg, L is larva, P is pupa, and A is adult. So we take a look at life cycle of a mosquito diagrammatically. So the first stage is the egg stage, when they are in water. So during the egg stage, they are stationary, they are not moving. Okay. So after this, when they hatch, they become larvae. Now, this larva stage, they are mobile. These larvae can move and they can feed on smaller organisms. Okay. And after this, the third stage is the pupa. Now, in the pupa stage, they are less active. They don't move that much. Okay. So the differences between these three stages is: first, they look different from each other. Second, the egg stage, they are not moving. The larva, they can move, and the pupa, not that much active. Okay, so during the pupa, what happens is the actual organism is covered in a casing called the puparium. Okay, so once it breaks from the puparium, it becomes an adult mosquito, which we are familiar with. Okay, so first you can see that this is a complete metamorphosis. Each stage it looks different. The nutrition requirements are also different. How it feeds is different. Okay, so even when it comes to eradicating mosquitoes, how do you deal with mosquitoes? The easier stages are stages where it's not moving, not stages where it's moving, like the adult stage where it can be flying. Okay, so these are various stages of a mosquito's life cycle. So there's the egg stage. Of course, here it needs oxygen so that the embryo can be growing there, can be developing. Then the larva stage where it moves and feeds on smaller organisms. Then there's a pupa stage where it's not that active and the actual organism is covered in a casing. When it breaks from the casing, by the time it breaks from the casing, it means it has the wings have developed, they are strong, and it can fly. Okay, so now mosquitoes usually feed on plant juice. Okay, they don't feed on human blood. Then there is a female mosquito called Anopheles mosquito. This one also feeds on plant juice. Now, when it's pregnant, that's where things become complicated. It develops um, it develops the need for animal blood. That's when they start feeding on animal blood. So male mosquitoes don't feed on animal blood, but female mosquitoes that are pregnant. So in short, because of blood sucking, the female Anopheles mosquito is a vector for malaria in animals. What is a vector? So a vector is an organism that transmits parasites from one host to another. Mosquitoes are said to be biological vectors. There are two types of vectors, biological vectors and mechanical vectors. Okay, so by the way, for those who are doing physics or mathematics, the vector in physics and mathematics is not the same as this one. This is different, but the vector in mathematics and physics are the same. Okay, so so what's a biological vector? Since we have said there are two types of vectors, biological vector and mechanical vector. So what's a biological vector? So a biological vector is one that carries parasites, okay, inside its body systems. So the parasite, the disease causing agent, is inside its body. And additionally, the parasite undergoes part of its life cycle inside the vector. Okay, so it develops inside the vector. Such a vector which carries a parasite inside it and such that the parasite develops inside it is called a biological vector. So the question is, how do we control malaria? To control malaria, you need to control mosquitoes. So you can control mosquitoes by draining all stagnant pools of water to eliminate eggs, larvae, and pupae. Okay, so eggs, larvae, and pupa, remember they're always in water. So this can be dealt by making sure that there are no stagnant pools for them to develop. Second, spraying stagnant water with insecticides and or oils. So you can spray stagnant water, again, if you don't want to drain them, with insecticides and oils. So what are insecticides and oils going to do? So insecticides such as DDT kill the eggs, larvae, and pupa directly. Well, oils block the oxygen supply from the eggs, larvae, and pupa, thereby killing them. There is also biological control. So in biological control, you can use one type of organism called the control agent to get rid of another organism called the target organism, which is giving you problems. So a control agent should be an organism that feeds on the organism that you don't want. Okay, a simple biological control in homes. If your house is infested with rats, you can get a cat. That's a biological control. A cat will be feeding on the rats. So that's a biological control. So this is an example. This is another method in which you can deal with mosquitoes. So you make sure that where mosquitoes are found, there is an organism that feeds on them. So such organism is are bacteria. They are bacteria which infect and kills mosquito larvae. So you can make sure that those bacteria or bacterium are sprayed on stagnant water so that they can deal with the larvae. Also, there are types of fish called insectivorous fish, which feed on mosquito pupa and larvae. So these insectivorous fish, they feed on mosquito pupa and larvae. So these are some of the biological control methods that you can use. Next, we take a look at a housefly. So a housefly also undergoes complete metamorphosis during its life cycle. So its stages are just the same as that of mosquito. We have the egg, which is found in rotting materials. Then we've got the larva, also called maggot, which is in rotting material and feeds on nutrients that are on a rotting material. Then there is a pupa again, which is in active stage in rotting material, also covered by a casing inside. That's where the living organism is, and later it develops into a housefly. So now we're going to go step by step on each stage, analyzing what happens there. So the female housefly lays eggs in rotting materials after mating. The eggs normally hatch into the larva or maggot 8 to 24 hours after being laid. Okay. The larvae then feed on rotting material by sucking the nutrients and moving using pads on the lower side of their bodies. So these larvae have pads on the lower side of their bodies. They use these pads to move. So why do they move? So if they are if the nutrients where they are has finished, if they have finished all the nutrients where they are, they have to move to another part of that rotten material so that they can feed there also. So after 45 days, the larva develops into pupa, which are immobile and do not feed. Okay, so the pupa do not feed and are immobile. Despite this, inside the pupa, a lot of metabolism occurs, and the imago takes shape within the pupa case known as the puparium. Okay, so after this now, maybe 3 to 4 days later, the imago now breaks out of the puparium. It takes an imago 14 days to reach sexual maturity, and the cycle starts all over again. So the imago is now the full, the grown-up housefly, which after 14 days it will be able to be sexual and mature, so that if it's female, it can lay eggs. Next, we'll take a look at houseflies as vectors. So houseflies are vectors for pathogens that cause cholera, dysentery, and typhoid, among others. Just like mosquitoes, the fact that houseflies are able to fly, it makes them very efficient vectors. They can easily be at this point in time, they are on rotten food. Then in a short time, they are on the food that you are about to eat. Okay, so they are very efficient vectors because of their ability to fly. Unlike a mosquito, a housefly is a mechanical vector. What does that mean? A mechanical vector is a vector that carries pathogen on the external surface of its body, not within its body. So how do we control houseflies? Houseflies may be controlled using the following methods. The first, we can make sure that sanitary disposal of refuse, and we can make sure that there is sanitary disposal of refuse and feces. This is going to reduce the breeding size of houseflies. Remember, houseflies, unlike mosquitoes, breed on rotten food. Mosquitoes, it is where water is. So wherever there's water, mosquitoes can breed. Well, houseflies, it's on rotten material. So when there's sanitary disposal of refuse and feces, it means there will be no breeding grounds for houseflies. Another control measure is spraying with insecticides so as to kill the adult flies. Or again, we can use fly traps which trap flies so that they don't move easily from one point to another. We can also be covering the openings of pit latrines so that we exclude the parts where where houseflies can easily breed to parts where we know that to surroundings where we are, so that we keep them away from ourselves. So this marks the end of growth and development. From here, we're going to take a look at responses, which is an interesting topic. Then from there, we're going to take a look at the last topic in the grade 11 syllabus called the endocrine system. Happy solving.